welcome back to the Patriot Hour for Friday, March 8th, 2019. All right, folks, we got some other things to get into here. If you're new, thanks for stopping by. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, share across all your social media platforms while you can. We are shadow banned, have been for every bit of 8-9 months. Just hit our year anniversary of this channel last month. So we're doing all right around their traditional, algorithms and system, but it's never hurts for you to manually share it because they're not. What I mean by that is YouTube doesn't promote us like they do most typical channels. The truth hurts their feelings, so we know that. All right, we're going to jump right in here. Again, make sure you're subscribed and maybe ring the bell. That way you don't miss any videos when we put them out. You'll get the alert. You'll get the alarm on your device, however you like that to happen. Okay, let's jump in here, folks. We got a little interesting article. HAARP, I know all about it. Looking into it for every bit of 15, 16 years. Got a little article here we're going to kind of skim through. You could read the full thing. I'll leave it down in the description box. HAARP project. It can deliver very large amount of energy comparable to a nuclear bomb anywhere on Earth. Humans are free. March 7th, 2019. So military interest in space became intense during and after World War II because of the introduction of the rocket science, the companion of the two nuclear technology. The earlier versions, including the buzz bomb and guided missiles, they were thought of as a potential carriers of both nuclear and conventional bombs. So this whole article comes here from humansarefree.com. Again, HAARP project. I just read that little interlude there. Rocket technology and nuclear weapon technology developed simultaneously between 1945 and 1963. During this time, intensive atmospheric nuclear testing explosions at various levels above and below the surface of the Earth were tried. Some of the now familiar descriptions of the Earth's protective atmosphere, such as the existence of the Van Allen belts, were based on information gained through stratospheric and ionospheric experimentation. The Earth's atmosphere consists of the troposphere from sea level to above about 16 kilometers above the Earth's surface, the stratosphere, which contains the ozone level, which extends from about 16 to 48 kilometers above the Earth, and the ionosphere, which extends from 48 to over 50,000 above the Earth's surface. So here you go. Here's the HAARP base. All these antennas set up strategically in a couple of acres of field for this HAARP base. The Earth's protective atmosphere or skin extends beyond 3,200 kilometers above the sea level to the large magnetic fields called the Van Allen belts, which can capture the charged particles sprayed through the cosmos by solar and galactic winds. These belts were discovered in 1958 during the first weeks of the operation of America's first satellite, Explorer 1. They appear to contain charged particles trapped in the Earth's gravity and magnetic fields. Primarily galactic cosmic rays enter the solar system from interstellar space and are made up of protons and energies above 100 MeV, extending up to the astronomically high energies. They make up about 10% of the high energy rays. Solar rays are generally of lower energy, below 20 MeV, which is still high energy in Earth terms. These high energy particles are affected by the Earth's magnetic field and geomagnetic latitude, distance above or below the geomagnetic equator. The flux density of the low-energy protons at the top of the atmospheres is generally greater at the poles than at the equator. The density also varies with solar activity, a minimum when solar flares are at a maximum. The Van Allen belts capture charged particles, protons, electrons, and alpha particles, and these spiral along the magnetic force lines toward the polar regions, where the force lines converge. They are reflected back and forth between the magnetic force lines near the poles. The lower Van Allen belt is about 7,700 kilometers above the Earth's surface, and the outer Van Allen belt is about 51,500 kilometers above the Earth. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, the Van Allen belts are most intense along the equator and effectively absent over the poles. They dip to 400 kilometers over the South Atlantic Ocean and are about 1,000 kilometers high over the Central Pacific Ocean. In the lower Van Allen belt, the proton intensity is about 20,000 particles with energy above 30 MeV per second per square centimeter. Electrons reach a maximum energy of 1 MeV, and their intensity has a maximum of 100 million per second per square centimeter. In the outer belt, proton energy averages only 1 MeV. For comparison, most charged particles discharged in a nuclear explosion are ranged between 0.3 and 3 MeV, while diagnostic medical X-ray has a peak voltage of around 0.5 MeV. So now this gets into some of the different projects that they've partaken in. So we'll kind of skim through these, maybe read a few of them in full. But between August and September of 1958, the U.S. Navy exploded 3 fission-type nuclear bombs 480 kilometers above the South Atlantic Ocean and part of the lower Van Allen belt closest to the Earth's surface. In addition, 2 hydrogen bombs were detonated 160 kilometers over Johnston Island in the Pacific. This was called by the military the biggest scientific experiment ever undertaken. It was designed by the U.S. Department of Defense and the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission under the code name Project Argus. The purpose appears to be to assess the impact of high-altitude nuclear explosions on radio transmission and radar operations because of the electromagnetic pulse, EMP, and to increase understanding of the geomagnetic field and the behavior of the charged particles in it. So the gigantic experiment created new inner magnetic radiation belts encompassing almost the whole Earth and injected sufficient electrons and other energetic particles into the ionosphere to cause worldwide effects. The electrons traveled back and forth along the magnetic force lines, causing an artificial aurora when striking the atmosphere near the North Pole. The U.S. military planned to create a telecommunications shield in the ionosphere, reported 13 through 20 August 1961. So there you go. Project Starfish, 1962. On July 9th of 62, the U.S. began further series of experiments within the ionosphere. From their description, 1 kiloton device at the height of a 60 kilometer and 1 megaton and 1 multi-megaton at the several hundred kilometers height. So in this experiment, the inner Van Allen belt was practically destroyed for a period of time. Particles from the belt will be transported to the atmosphere. It is anticipated that the Earth's magnetic field will be disturbed over a long distance for several hours, preventing radio communication. The explosion in the inner radiation belt will create an artificial dome of polar light that would be visible from Los Angeles. A Fijian sailor present at this nuclear explosion told me that the whole sky was on fire. He thought it would be the end of the world. This was the experiment which called forth the strong protest of the Queen's astronomer, Sir Martin Ryle, in the UK. Solar Power Satellite Project, 1968. The U.S. military proposed solar-powered satellites in a geostationary orbit some 40,000 kilometers above the Earth, which would intercept solar radiation using solar cells on satellites and transmit it via microwave beam to receiving antennas called rectannas on Earth. The project was designed to construct 60 solar-powered satellites over a 30-year period at the cost of between $500 and $800,000 million. in 1968, providing 10% U.S. energy needs in 2025. 1975, Saturn vs. Rocket. 1978, SPS military implications. Orbit maneuvering system in 81. Innovative shuttle experience in 85. Mighty Oaks in 86. This one's interesting. In April 86, just before the Chernobyl disaster, the U.S. had failed hydrogen test at a Nevada test site called Mighty Oaks. This test, conducted far underground, consisted of a hydrogen bomb explosion in one chamber with a lead steel door to the chamber 2 meters thick, closing within milliseconds of the blast. The door was to allow only the first radioactive beam to escape into the control room, in which expensive instrumentation was located. The radiation was to be captured as a weapon beam. The door failed to close as quickly as planned, causing the radioactive gases and debris to fill the control room, destroying millions of dollars worth of its equipment. The experiment was part of a program to develop X-ray and particle beam weapons. The radioactive releases from Mighty Oaks were vented under a licensed venting and were likely responsible for many of the North American nuclear fallout reports in 1986, which were attributed to the Chernobyl disaster. Desert Storm in 91, according to the Defense News, April 13th through 19th of 1992, the U.S. deployed an electromagnetic pulse weapon, EMP, into the Desert Storm. Designed to mimic the flash of electricity from a nuclear bomb, the Sandre National Laboratory had built a 2,300 square meter laboratory on Kirkland Air Force Base, 1989, to house the HARM's 3 electron beam generator capable of producing 20 trillion watt pulses lasting 20 billionths to 2,500 billionths of a second. High Frequency Active Aurora Research Program, HAARP, in 1993. The HAARP program is jointly managed by the U.S. Air Force and the U.S. Navy, and is based in Gwaukona, Alaska. It is designed to understand, simulate, and control ionosphere processes that might, after a performance of communication and surveillance, alter the performance of communications and surveillance systems. The HAARP system intends to beam 3.6 gigawatts of affected radiated power of high-frequency radio energy into the ionosphere in order to generate extreme low ELF waves for communication with submerged submarines, conduct geographical probes to identify and characterize natural ionospheric processes so that the techniques can be developed to migrate or control them, generate ionosphere lenses to focus large amounts of high-frequency energy, thus providing a means of triggering ionosphere processes that potentially could be exploited by the Department of Defense. So basically, this is a little bit of possibly controlling. You beam up a lot of energy into the ionosphere, and they can bend it around the curvature of the Earth, possibly, or the skies up there, and then harness it into one area and unleash it. You point this stuff at clouds, because we know that radio waves or high amounts of energy can make clouds scurry, or you can push them another way, make them dissipate. So Poker Flat rocket launch, 1968 to present. Conclusion. Let's take a look at it would be rash to assume that HAARP is isolated experiment which would not be expanded. It is related to 50 years of intensive and increasingly destructive programs to understand and control the upper atmosphere. It would be rash not to associate HAARP with the space laboratory construction, which is separately being planned by the United States. HAARP is an integral part of the long history of space research and development of a deliberate military nature. The military implications of combining these projects is alarming. Basic is this project is control of communications, both disruption and reliability in hostile environments. The power widened by such control is obvious. The ability of HAARP Space Lab rocket combination to deliver a very large amount of energy comparable to a nuclear bomb anywhere on Earth via laser and particle beam. It's just frightening. The project is likely to be sold to the public as a space shield against incoming weapons, or for the more gullible, a divisive or repairing the ozone layer. That's some of the guises they will use as they pitch it to the public. So we know long ago they sat down, some of these heads of the world or governments, and they all promised if any of them got control of the weather, that it wouldn't be used as a weapon of war. Control the weather and create natural disasters for somebody. Well, we'll just whip up a tsunami for you over there and take you out that way. So however that was discussed in the 50s and the promises that were made to never use it as war, all the countries raced back home to their home countries and started experimenting with the weather and how they can control it. We know this is a fact. They did it in Vietnam, seeding of the clouds. A little bit more obscure ways have been done, but you're going to tell me it's just like we're celebrating the 50th or 60th year of the laser, maybe the 70th year or something. So we got this technology down, and anytime the government is vastly invested with our tax dollars into something like this, and then they tell you, oh, we shut that base down, or it's at a minimum, bullcrap. 50, 60 years invested, they got something dialed in, and we know it. All right, we'll shut this one down. Again, this article, I'll leave the link in the description box. Check it out in full. Due to time, we're already at the 17-minute mark here. Like to keep them under 20. Folks, I look at the numbers. If I do a 30 or 40-minute show, it just doesn't get watched. The average watch time on those is 12, 13, 14, half the video. So we don't want to waste time. We want everyone to get the information, and keep it in shorter packaged videos is the way to go. Again, I'm Mike. This is Patriot Hour. God bless, Godspeed to each and every one of you worldwide, and we'll see you back here on the next Patriot Hour coming real soon. Have a great afternoon.